Let's get it.
One. And we do have a B-roll. So what will happen is the B-roll will pull through and it will give us everything we need when it comes to what's going live. Hopefully it doesn't have a latency of pushing this out. Let me take a look at my note. You can add chat source. I don't need that. Okay. Looks like the quality is coming in pretty good. Okay, as far as I can tell. Let's make sure. Let me go look at the stream manager. Yeah, bitrate says good. We're green all the way across the board. Okay, good. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. Wanted to make sure. Okay, let's go ahead and get this started. Welcome in. I'm Allison. These are my co-hosts, Phoebe, Stacy, and Jedi. We are live for the night. For those of you tuning in, we realized today is Saturday. Yes, Christina totally did press the record button, not like last time. But for those of you tuning in, I know it's Saturday. Normally we do this on Friday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. But the problem is we ran into an issue with Halloween, and we wanted to make sure we were accommodating for everybody's family and the different times and the things that we were doing. And we felt that it would be best to approach and do this on a Saturday. So that's why we decided to do it on today at the same time and make sure everybody had time yesterday to spend with family and enjoy the events and, you know, the holiday kind of thing. So today we're obviously live, and for those of you who do not get a chance to watch this later, Our YouTube podcast channel actually opened us up to include video now. They didn't used to do that. So now when I upload these podcasts, you actually get to see the whole entire recast of this live. If you don't get to see it on the Twitch, you can see it on YouTube, and YouTube will let you load either one, which is fantastic. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to it, see it live, the replays and VODs will be there. We also publish the audio up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts within 24 hours. That'll probably happen sometime tomorrow. So if you're subscribed on any of those channels, feel free to tune in and listen to the podcast. Tonight, I'm actually doing things a little bit differently. I'm using a wireless mic for the TikTok, so that way you guys can hear me better. And then this is through a new mixer that I'm testing out for some upcoming features that we're going to be doing soon. So stay tuned. We hope you enjoy that. But the whole entire perspective of this is to make it cleaner and more concise and more professional when it sounds, and then work. So welcome in, everybody. My name is Allison. This is Hot Take News Podcast Show. Tonight's topic, in the new software I was able to type. If you can see it while you're in your Twitch stream, I can actually now type at the bottom of our stream. So I have our text for our episodes now. So I finally figured out how to do that. This is episode 6. We're going to talk about illness, disorder, condition, and disease. You will encounter a whole lot of aspects of these 4 topics tonight in these terms and why they're important. And I think that the reason why this is important to understand is we are often heard others in social spaces and social media spaces using these terms incorrectly, and that's kind of problematic. And I think that if we open up the door for people to understand the differences between them, that'll encourage people to learn how to use them more appropriately and accurately within their sentences, rather than just kind of sounding dumb and arrogant, but at the same time a little bit miseducated. So before we get to that, like I said, this is episode 6. I'm going to turn it over to my co-hosts and I'll let them introduce themselves, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you and welcome everybody into Hot Take News Podcast Show. I'm Allison. I'm one of the hosts. Go ahead.
Hi, I am Phoebe. I am everybody's mom. I also do have a co-host dog over here, so he's going to be knocking into everything because he's needy today.
Hey y'all, I'm Stacey. I'm one of the co-hosts here, and just fair warning, if y'all hear somebody screaming in the background, it's okay. She's watching the Tennessee game, so don't think he's cussing at anything going on here.
Hey everybody, I'm Jedi. Everyone knows me. I'm your regular intersex trans man here. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast today. It's going to be informative and hopefully something that will make everybody think. So on that, I'm going to send it back to Allie.
All right. Thank you. Hey, Titan, welcome in. We see you down on there, TikTok. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. So obviously we're live in 2 places. We like doing this. We're trying to do this in a little bit different fashion, so that way that y'all that are watching on TikTok, please make sure that we Yep, brain fart. So eventually we will be moving off of this platform in TikTok, not because we don't love being around y'all or being live on panels and having the ability to share these lives and these podcasts with you. We are going to move to Twitch because this allows us a better paneling system than what you see here, where I'm in big, Jedi's in small, Stacy's in small, and Phoebe's in small. When we have a podcast like this where we're all co-hosting at the same time, the concept and the idea is to have equal amount of visibility for everybody so that they can see and listen at the same time. And we think that that's super, super important. So please make sure that if you haven't done it already, check us out on Twitch. Thank you. Oh, look, it's a little ghost. Thank you so much. Make sure that you tune in on Twitch TV / Hot Take News Podcast Show, and so you hit the follow button, and then you'll get notified every time we're live. Make sure we tippy tap the TikTok screen up to at least 1K, so that gets us on the algorithm. But now that we've got all the formalities aside, so here's tonight's topic.
You let them know that we're not taking guests.
What? Who's not taking guests? No, I'm not taking guests. This is not
guests.
a debate. We are not.
This isn't a debate, guys. This is an actual podcast.
This is how we host our show.
Alex, I'm gonna do something over here on TikTok. Give me a second.
Yeah, you're fine. I'll let you guys handle. Hey, look! Oh, wow! Look at that! Oh,
Yay!
okay, I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of fucking cool. Like,
I like that a lot better.
that's legit.
That's way better.
Okay, so maybe we don't move off both of them. Maybe we market both angles. Kinda
Right,
doing this.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I mean, I'm.
Yeah, thank you. Hold on. I'm actually going to adjust this camera down just a smidgen. Never mind anybody on Twitch who's watching. Yes, those are on clouds. Yes, they're my tennis shoes. They're down there. Yes, that's an Xbox controller. Things are a little messy.
Yes, that's my Swiffer.
I mean,
No
I've got
judgment.
a
I
light
like to
bulb.
clean and I like to have game stuff. Anywho. See, and two, this brings up a really good point before we even get into the topic. When we decided to do this podcast, moments like that, which you just witnessed, are one of the reasons why we do this, is because this allows us the ability to just come through and share moments just like any other podcast. We don't have to just talk about the topics all the time. We love to. Thanks, Joe. We do love to talk about the topics. Don't get us wrong. But one of our things that we spend a lot more time in is having the enjoyment of being in situations like this where we can have these goofy moments and giggle and laugh and talk about random topics and just whatever comes around the bend for our mind, I guess, for lack of a better word. So yeah, but tonight's topic in this episode 6 is going to be based on illness, disorder, condition, and disease. This kind of goes hand in hand with last week's episode, which we talked about understanding the biology and the human physiology and a couple other different aspects of sex versus gender, I think, is what we were in when we were discussing it, and some of the terms that are used in there. And all too often in these lives, what we run into is we hear a lot of people will throw around, quote unquote, like I heard a guy named Bumpy today say something like, well, I think it's just a mental disorder. But here's the thing. You're 22 years old, and how proud and arrogant you sound to say something is a mental disorder or a mental illness is just wild to me. Like, I can't figure out within my brain cells, like, it just doesn't compute. You obviously have never studied any of these different four pathologies that are there in diagnoses for you to just throw around this word, right? Like, and I'm going to let, I think Jedi's got all of the definitions up for each one and why they're significant. And then I'm going to let the three of them kind of go through pragmatically how that applies to tonight's episode. Because quite frankly, going back to episode 2, thank you, Phoebe, when we were talking about medical studies, and I've listened to that episode like 3 times, and it brings forth some really interesting pieces to the puzzle. And I think Jedi's going to be able to tell on his side. Phoebe will be able to talk about how these terms apply in the studies perspective that she was talking about back in episode 2. Stacy will be able to talk about it from her perspective in episode 2 and episode 3 and how it's relevant today. And then I will dive in as appropriate. But Jedi, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Let's inform our watchers, our wonderful community out there. Let's understand what the difference between illness, disorder, condition, and disease are.
Sure. So, illness. It's a broad term that refers to a person's poor health or the presence of a disease or abnormal condition. These terms are often used interchangeably, but they have distinct meaning in the medical terminology. Okay? Condition. It's a general term for an abnormal state of health, which can include diseases, disorders, syndromes, but does not have a specific cause. Right? Disorder, a disruption in normal bodily functions that may not have a clear cause, such as anxiety disorders. It also can be DSTs. Disease, a specific medical condition with identifiable causes and well-defined symptoms such as diabetes or cancer. I threw another one in there. I threw in syndrome.
Oh yeah, if you've got syndrome, do syndrome, because syndrome is a great one.
Yeah, I got syndrome. It's a collection of symptoms that occur together, often associated with a specific condition, such as Down syndrome.
Very good.
Any others? I have a bunch. I have virus. I have a whole bunch of them.
No, I mean, I think that those are well encapsulated in like what we're talking about, and like, you know, before I let Phoebe chime in here, like most often when we talk about the LGBTQIA community, some of the things that got brought up in those perspectives, whether it's being lesbian, being gay, being bi, transgender, or intersex, agender, asexual, aromantic, or plus and inclusive and queer. It doesn't matter. But when we have these topics, it's the first thing out of most of our opposition's mouth and the contentional, willfully ignorant people out there. And yes, if you're listening to this and you're opposition and you've been on a panel with me and had an argument or a debate, I am definitely calling you willfully ignorant. I am sorry. Maybe that comes off as hurtful and, condescending, but I'm sorry. You are willfully ignorant towards the terms that are being used, and you throw them around like apples in a grocery bag. And that's not fair. I think you need to make sure that you have understanding of the words that you're using and the meanings that they have with regards to the current nuance and the conversation that is being had. But that gets thrown around a lot, like mental illness and mental disorder. But most of the people, I would say a majority of them, have a lacking or a very, very inaccurate understanding to know that there are clinical criteria in the ICD-10 and in the DSM-5 that require something to match all of these categories to be classified as a mental illness or a mental disorder. And just merely because it exists in the DSM-5 does not substantiate 100% that it is an illness or that it is a disorder. There are various things that are listed in those books that are conditions because they match some of the criteria, but not all. And for you to espouse that and come up and say it with full arrogance is just wild to me because you clearly haven't done any reading in regards to it. But, so yeah, like, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
To do all my unmuting while the dog is staring at me because I kicked him off the couch. So there's a couple of things like for like referring back to what we talked about last time. So like just not being super strict on those definitions, right? So like pregnancy is technically a condition because it's temporary and there's a whole wide array of things that can happen because of that initial condition. Like personally, like because of the condition of being pregnant, I had diabetes while I was pregnant. And there's still some discussion on what actually causes that, because that is or what actually causes it to happen, because it does have to do with the placenta and the hormonal release in your body, but it's not a guarantee every pregnancy that person would get it. So they're still trying to figure out like why for that too. And in addition to other things that are in my household, we do have a person here with celiac disease. Celiac disease is also it's an autoimmune disease. For those that don't know, you can't eat gluten. Gluten is usually wheat, barley, rye, malt. It's used in a binder in a lot of things, not just food but medications. It can be in like household items like chapstick. Like it's in everything, and that is that's considered an autoimmune disease because it triggers a reaction in the GI tract. It can cause inflammation in a variety of spots all over the body, some mental haziness, and it's also considered a condition because they are still trying to figure out a for sure cause, because you can have some genetic markers for it, but that doesn't mean that it's going to switch on and you're going to have it. Or you can have no genetic markers and still develop it. So that's been interesting. There are studies that have been trying to go on and off, trying to figure out how to manage it and make life a little easier for people besides just avoiding gluten, or even if working on some medications if someone had like an accidental exposure to it, because it's like a day-to-day life thing. And sometimes people will ingest something not knowing until later that it was in there, because then they'll have symptoms which could be, depending on the person, they could have a reaction anywhere from 15 minutes to 24 hours later, and their problems because of it can be weeks until they process it out of their system. Like I have a teammate who didn't realize Mentos has it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And after she realized it was, the next day I saw her and you could physically tell that she had accidentally had some, because she was everywhere was swollen. And like that's a chronic thing. Like that's not something that we can get rid of at this moment.
And I think that's one of the more confusing pieces to the puzzle that people don't really understand, is they will use those words inappropriately and blanket them without knowing that there are substantial sets of criteria for each one to be clinically written down or put into an assessment or a diagnosis. And I think that that's frustrating because, like, there are a multitude of conditions out there. Like, you could say, like, Crohn's disease. Okay, well, you can say Crohn's, and that's a disease because, like, we know all of its epidemiology, we know its pathology, we know that there are medical interventions that are available, but that doesn't make it a disorder. Like, they throw everything around so interchangeably, like they are the same thing. Like, this is a disease, and that's a disorder, and this is an illness, and that's a condition, but it doesn't matter. They all mean the same, so we're just kind of the same way that they use sex and gender. And that's disheartening to me because it's like, so like Jedi, with your condition that you have, like that would be like, okay, you're intersex condition, yes, but no, you're also intersex disorder. You're now intersex diseased, and you're intersex syndrome. Do you know what I'm saying? Yep. Like that's how egregious it sounds in my head when I hear people say that. Like that's just wild. But here's the bottom line that I think is really important. Just because there's a medical term that includes the conditionality of its label doesn't mean that we don't have some kind of medical intervention that is appropriate for each part's standards of care. Some things have more elaborate and complex types of care that are applicable for that condition, that disorder, that illness, that disease, that syndrome. And that's fantastic. Nodian just wrote in Twitch. I can't with you, E. I can't.
Oh my E.
What do you say? I can't
Be careful, you're going to catch Jedi's intersex illness.
If anything, Christina will catch it.
Oh my goodness, that was
Christina's
hilarious.
gonna grow a third X.
I mean, what shit?
A Y, an X, and then like another number, 49. But like that's that's the thing is like often we hear the opposition come up and say things like, "Oh my goodness, I'm normal." Bitch, you ain't normal. Your definition of normal is subjective to you. And then more importantly, normal is just a setting up my dishwasher, my microwave, and maybe my washer and dryer if on a good Sunday. That's not even 100% true. Like, we have arguments with those two devices in our laundry room on a daily basis. But the point I'm trying to make is you think that you are, normal, quote unquote, and you don't even know that you could have genetic predispositions for things 10 years, 15 years down the line. That's the thing I think that frustrates me the most about like this 18 to 23-year-old range is they come up with such arrogance, like, well, that's just not normal and blah, 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 blah. 95% of the whole entire population in our civilization is normal. No, bitch, you can't say that. Like, I know that that's going to come across really mean, but like, you don't have the ability to say that for the entire population because you're not a clinical doctor, right? Like you don't have the knowledge to even know your own genetic background, right? Like, and that's what I don't think is appropriate. No, I know you're not all stupid. I will agree with you. I have an 18-year-old
Smokey, you're the exception.
Yeah, my daughter has moments, and I love her to death. She's smart, but then she's not smart, and I don't even know where to categorize that because that's a whole nother discussion for another day. But the point I'm trying to make, long way around, is conditions, illnesses, disorders, diseases, syndromes, in some way, shape, or form, have a medical intervention that's applicable by a medical professional or a team of professionals. Some can be resolved permanently. Some can't be resolved permanently. Some have gestational time frame or conditionality, meaning it goes in waves like a roller coaster. Sometimes you'll have really low symptoms or be asymptomatic, and then sometimes you'll be really high up at the top and you'll have lots of symptoms where, it's very apparent that you have a condition or an illness or a disease or a disorder or a syndrome. But that doesn't make you any less valid to those who matter around you or your family or your friends. And that's the thing that I think is the bigger picture too on when we use these terms is you guys like to use these labels as some way to throw shade or throw judgment when you should be a lot more accepting. And it just goes back to, I guess, parenting or the lack thereof. And I feel like you're not being held accountable for the shit you say. However, this day and age is part of the social media wave and things are live and recorded. And, I'm 46. I kind of don't have a filter and I don't care that I'm not that palatable anymore. And quite frankly, like I've answered for all my younger generational errors and risks that I took, and that's fine. But the younger generation that's before us, you don't realize your stupidity could walk you into a closed room where your opportunities for you, whether it's professionally, educationally, socially, or any other of those different opportunities, you could be closing the door on those things because of the shit you say online, and you think that it has no effect on your future, but you don't realize your actions have repercussions. And I'm diatribing, so I do apologize, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the guests for the rest of this while I take a drink.
Go ahead, Stace.
Okay, so sorry, my brain's right in a second. I'm hurting. I'm tired. Forgive me. But no, I mean, to be fair, like what Ali was saying with the DSM and everything with that nature, we still have things on the books for the DSM that have no relevance for today. And it was things that were made up back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even before that, that were used so we could put people into mental institutions. I mean, to be fair, we used to send women into a mental institute just for being able to read and write their name. So, I mean, we have to look and step back and sit here and say, whenever we're dealing with any of these ordeals, that we have to step back, apply it to modern day. Does this still apply? If not, why the fuck is it still there? I mean, to be honest, I mean, like we were joking earlier with Anodian, the intersex disease, or illness rather, sorry Anodian, I mean, it's wild that we have 27 different ways of saying something, but yet they all wind up meaning the exact same thing. I mean, I don't. My brain that is not medically inclined does not understand it. I'll say that. And I think that's part of the problem with a lot of people. They're not medically inclined and they don't get it. They don't understand that, we have these things that are 100 years old that are still on the books as XYZ, yet that disease doesn't even exist.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what it comes down to for me is that people just need to do more research and educate themselves better on the different things. And, before people hop on here and start spouting ridiculousness, read the DSM 5. Read, the W path. Read things. Like, educate yourself. I think that's the biggest problem is people that have internet and grew up with internet don't know how to do proper research, right? Because when we were kids, we had the Dewey Decimal System. We had to do actual library reading books.
Small segue.
We didn't have.
Fuck you, Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh yes. Oh dear God.
God,
Everybody had them, and they were so expensive. Good
Yes.
Lord.
$68 a damn book. You believe that? Like $68.
Yeah.
And
Remember many papers I wrote though in high school off of those things? Whew,
Right?
So many.
Well,
But
they were
it's
out of date by June if you bought it in January.
Right. So it's like for me, right? I'm going to come at this as a personal, like, this is how disorders and diseases and things affect me personally, right? So you all know me on this app. I'm the intersex guy, the token intersex guy, right? And how many times have you heard a GC come into the live and say, but you're a woman? Nope. Oh, but you're a male? Nope. I'm neither. I'm both. And so for all of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Jedi. I'm XXY47. I have Klinefelter's and congenital adrenal hyperplasia. I have a penis and a vagina. Welcome. Those of you in Twitchland, now you know who Jedi is. So let me read to you a little bit about Klinefelter syndrome, and then I'll read to you about congenital adrenal hyperplasia, right? And if people don't know about this, you should totally do some research into intersex conditions. It'll blow your mind. There's so many. So me personally, I have Klinefelter's, which is XXY, right? It affects males. And then congenital adrenal hyperplasia, CAH for short, right? It can affect males and females, mostly females, typically. But it can affect males, which is probably why I have it. But nevertheless, Klinefelter syndrome is a genetic condition that occurs due to an extra X chromosome, me, leading to smaller testicles, don't have those, less body hair and facial hair, didn't get that either, extra breast tissue, I did get that, it's gone now. It can affect sexual development and fertility, which I can't have kids, with many individuals producing little to no sperm. Yeah, that didn't happen with me. Symptoms can vary widely, and conditions may not be diagnosed until adulthood. Mine was diagnosed from birth. CAH, which is congenital adrenal hyperplasia, is a group of genetic disorders affecting the adrenal glands, which mine don't work. Neither does my pituitary gland, which produce essential hormones like cortisol and aldosterone. CAH can cause symptoms related to sexual development, such as delayed puberty and low testosterone levels. That's me. Treatment typically involves hormone replacement therapy to restore hormonal balance. So that is my disorder, okay, or condition. Let's move on to my disease that I have. I have complex regional pain syndrome. If anyone knows about this, it is the fourth most painful thing on the planet to have. It's actually ranked above child labor. Complex regional pain syndrome is a broad term that covers long-lasting pain and inflammation that can happen after an injury or medical event. I had neck surgery on my spine. C4 through 7 is fused. I have nerve damage. It can occur in the arms, hands, legs, upper chest, and feet. I have CRPS2, which is associated with damage to a specific nerve. Mine is my pain receptors and in my spinal column. The majority of cases for CRPS usually go away, but then there are some, like myself, that it stays. And it is extremely painful when you go through episodes where you get paralysis in your mouth, or you're like palsying up, your hands twitch like this all the time. It's extremely painful. So that's my disease, right? There is no cure. It can be treated with medication, but most medication either makes you go night-night or just barely touches the pain, right? So I'm on this new medication. Don't ask me to say the name of it because I have no idea. Dolca something.
Not to be confused with Dolcolax.
Yeah, no, it's not Dolcolax.
That just makes you poop a lot.
What is it I'm taking? Duloxetine.
Duloxetine?
So that's what
Duloxetine.
So that's what I'm taking. A very high dose of that.
It works.
And it works for the most part until about 1, 2 o'clock.
In the morning? Or in the
And then it starts, no, in the afternoon. Because I take it in the morning before I go to work, right? So I take it in the morning.
I'm like, how are you up at 1 a.m. trying to determine how this stuff is working?
Hell no. I'm sleeping.
No, thank you.
I work early in the morning. Come on now.
I'm glad it's working for you. I'll say that.
Listen, it works for the most part. Like I said, it takes the edge off. I wouldn't say it takes the pain away because I am constantly in pain. And as LJ and Jeannie got to see firsthand at Disney, this effects of my CRPS. I had a full-on episode right on Main Street. So, I think that people need to do some real deep dive. One, I think that everybody needs to go get karyotyped. I think karyotyping should be done from birth, because then, it kind of gets rid of this whole there's only male and female.
Well, you would lose confusion, right?
Right. The confusion will be gone.
Yeah, it would erase a whole multitude of questioning. I mean, not only from just an intersex perspective, but think about the congenital and genetic historical markers that could be passed down throughout your entire life, right? We would have a clear picture of knowledge, understanding what conditions your family tree probably experienced or potentially did not or did experience, and now how it applies to you, right? Like, this eliminates the questions.
You're ridiculous, E.
Damn it, Anodia. Damn it.
So
Got a sip of herpelitis.
right, for that part, exactly. So, we're coming up on 40 minutes for the live right now, which is, we're doing great on time. But Anodian brought up something very, very important, I think, and I think it's applicable. Essentially what they would call the spectrum analysis of how conditionality works within each one of these. And I have some bullet points that, might help our listeners understand a little bit better, right? Because not everything is finite within the designation of each one: disease, disorder, syndrome, and condition, right? And applicable physiological and pathological spectrums do exist within them, right? Like, disease has progression, right? Ranging from mild to severe. That's what Phoebe was talking about up there with like celiac and I mentioned Crohn's. Like, these things can have mild ranging outcomes all the way to severe outcomes, which could even be fatal, right? So that makes it a spectrum. It's not just one and done, right? Like, we need to make sure people understand that that these perspectives. Oh, there's a new goal needed. I don't know how to do that. Hold on. I don't do it from the phone that often. I do it from the live thing. Let me see if I can move forward.
It's up top.
Tap where the goal is up there, Allie, and you can swap it that way.
Wait, well,
You can
nope,
swap
that's a
it
super
anyway.
fan goal. I don't want that. Nope, that's the wrong
No,
one.
you just slide it over the other one. Click on it.
Oh
Hold
wow,
on.
you have
Ah.
a fan.
I-
SQ Saturn said you are their queen.
Oh, hey, look. Set your new goal. Let me do this. Hold on. And then press the
Do 100
button.
roses.
Oh, there we go.
Mind you guys, Allie is our tech person.
Let's do that one.
Okay, hold on. Wait, in Allie's defense, she does not ever go live like you and I do, Jedi. So, I mean, I get it.
I mean, she goes on other people's panels, but that's
Right.
Boom, there we go. Okay. I think I got it.
Good job.
Yeah, look at that. I
Yes, you
did
did.
something.
Hey, congratulations.
I did something. Oh, my
Somebody cue
goodness.
the trumpet.
You are
Okay.
correct, Allie.
So back to what I was saying, right? Like, E brought up a really good point. These things all have a spectrum. They're not just one and done, or you like symptomatically existent, and then you take some kind of medication and then it's gone. Sometimes conditions do. Viruses and bacteria. Like for instance, like when you have the flu or you have like pneumonia or something of that nature, like obviously you can take a scope of antibiotics and then it goes away, and then your system builds an immunocompromised perspective of how to battle it in the future, and then you don't get it again, or you don't get it as a harsh or as hard in the future. But like understanding that each one of these can have a disruption, and it can be short-lived or it can be very long-term, right? Like disorders can have a disruption of the normal physical or mental function, and that can happen over time. Multiple related conditions can contribute to that disorder and have underlying symptoms that are different, but having varying severity, whether it's very mild to very severe. And then in ASD, which is classifiable through autism spectrum disorder and functional neurological disorders, each one of these have a range of different things that are clustered within their symptomatic pathology. Syndromes have examples of these types of clusters in the spectrum too, right? Like they can have certain signs of symptoms that occur frequently together and characterize a specific thing, like seizures and epilepsy. Perfect example, right? Like, but they cannot be causally clear in understanding where they came from. So like it just goes through the tolerance of what your body is reacting to, right? Like a cluster of conditions that exists within a syndrome called metabolic syndrome, right? Multiple conditions that have different wavering severities, like high blood sugar, high blood pressure, body fat, cholesterol. And then that can lead to other things like heart disease and diabetes, and it just dominoes through, right? Like, so each thing has a variation within its existence to how it's experienced by an individual, and it's not uniform for every person, right? Like just because I may have the precursor for Alzheimer's because it's in my family and my genetic code, it doesn't mean my daughter's going to automatically get it, or my son for that matter. There's things that play variable factors, which could be their mother, right? What's her genetics look like? And God knows I've never karyotyped her and never had her karyotyped, but I don't think I would want to. That woman's spawn of Sneck. They say you're not supposed to step on Sneck, but I would definitely step on her. That's beside the point.
Oh my lord.
I'm sorry, but like this is something funny that I have to share with you. So, because I just made a reference to that. So the other day we're sitting down for dinner and we were talking about comedians and things like that, right? Like I just made a little plunge at my ex for that reason, right? And we all do that with exes in our relationships. So we live and have experience. Like you don't wish the worst ill will on them, but you definitely wish a little bit of karma, right? Let's be also for real here. We have those moments where like, I hate you. I hope you fall in a hole and you stub your toe. Don't break your ankle because I still need you on this earth for some reason, right? We all wish that kind of stuff for our exes in that way, shape, or form. And my daughter says to me, and I quote, for those of you on Twitch and watching and on TikTok, this is completely a quote from a comedian, so please do not take this literally or seriously. And I quote, for entertainment purposes. My daughter says people should have to wear signs to say, I'm stupid. That way you would know not to ask them questions. And I said, you know where that comes from, right? Like, that's a comedian. And she goes, what? And I said, yeah, like Bill Engvall, right? Like he did a whole entire circuit with this, right? Like, here's your sign. Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy and Ron White, right? Like, it was great in the time frame, right? Granted, now we probably couldn't say those things because it's very sensitive generation we live around. Why this is important? My daughter says, she says, you know that we used to go to like Thanksgiving dinners with John and his family. And I said, yeah, right, I remember that. She goes, you know that his mom, which would be like my step grandma, used to look at my mom and goes, you should have to wear signs for asking questions like that. I about lost it in my own kitchen. I was like, woo. I mean, I've said some things about my ex in a couple of different times, but to have somebody that you're significantly with, your future mother-in-law,
that's hilarious.
You should have to wear a sign. I'm like, oh, goodness.
I got to clean my computer screen now, everybody.
What happened?
So I got to clean my computer screen now. Oh. I was in the middle of taking a drink and did not expect it to go that direction.
You should know better than to do that by now.
Yeah, Phoebe, you would think so, but apparently,
when all of us get
apparently
together.
I'm the one that needs the freaking sign right now.
Well, I mean,
if the shoe fits, wear that bitch.
my daughter said to me, she says, well, like, what are some of the examples? I said, on the back of a bottle of shampoo, it says rinse, lather, and repeat. And she goes,
and it also says don't eat and ingest.
Oh, right. And I said, you know why there says rinse, lather, and repeat for that warning label? And she goes, no, why? And I said, because there's not a sign underneath it or a sticker underneath it that says, hey, rinse off, dry off, try again tomorrow. There's some idiot still in the shower. She's like, well, that's kind of harsh. I said, no, that's why warning labels exist. I'm like, go look at the bottle, like take a box with the bottle or the cream for preparation each. Okay. And she's like, and I said, literally the squeeze bottle. I said, turn it over and look at the warning label on the bottom. And I said, it'll say, do not take this orally. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, it says that. And I said, because there's some idiot who's in a doctor's office that looks at the doctor and goes, hey, I still got these hemorrhoids. I took this medication, I squirted it all in my mouth, but I still got these hemorrhoids, but I sure can whistle really good. That's why warning labels exist on things. You should have to wear a sign. And to know my ex had that told to her, I just kind of thought, bing! So many answers have been answered.
Jess, we're not doing medical studies today. We tried to change it several times, but it's just not letting us. We're actually discussing the difference between disorders, conditions, things like that.
Yeah, if you're on a TikTok and you see the Twitch, and one of these days I'll figure out how to put it on here for y'all, but it's episode 6. We're talking about illness, disorder, condition, disease. We actually have been talking about it for about an hour now. And kind of going into some of the in-depth perspectives of misusage of the terms, inappropriate throwing it around and grouping it all into the same thing, like they all are synonymous and they're not synonymous. We kind of went through all of those kind of facets tonight. And one of our number one subscribers on Twitch and on here, a real close friend of ours, Enodian, actually posited a really good question talking about the spectrumality of it, which Phoebe gave some really good examples. So but yeah, like we're now up on we're getting close to the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
We can take questions.
Yeah, if you guys have questions or perspectives you'd like to know, feel free, maybe.
Comment, concern.
Is IBS, IBD commonly misdenoted for bile acid malabsorption? BAM.
That's one for you there, brain.
Let me cross-check really quick while you guys jibber jabber.
Yeah,
If you haven't joined our Discord yet, definitely join in on the Discord. Link is in all of our bios. You could posit questions there if you think of something afterwards. Also, you can suggest topics for us. The last 2 episodes have been topics from Anodian. So we would love for you guys to interact with us there as well. Allie, they said sorry the other way around. So maybe flip those.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing is BAM is not the same as IBS and IBD, but can be misconditionalized or mischaracterized and diagnosed because the intestines can't reabsorb the bile, which leads to symptoms like IBD. IBS is more appropriated to a gut-brain interaction and the release of the chemicals and the acids in the digestive tract in irritable bowel versus inflammatory bowel. BAM actually contributes to one of the most heavily associated aspects to IBD and IBS, believe it or not. So actually, it can be misdiagnosed, yes, but it doesn't mean it's always the case. That's a symptom that can relate to how it correlates with IBD and IBS. And we have officially lost Phoebe on Twitch.
Yeah.
right.
Bear says off topic, but can someone create an autism simulator?
Care Bear can.
I wonder if we could. Do you think somebody could do an autism simulator?
Anything's possible.
It would be tough because autism is such a
Right.
spectrum.
You're looking at something as broad as
Yeah,
more broad than Mount spread right now.
it's a massive spectrum.
Yeah.
Like you've got functioning, you've got non-functioning, you've got you've got making a projectile. So
Making a projectile types of gift of empathy to all. Like,
Maybe we lost you.
Are you talking about because people are being rude to someone?
yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's potentially possible. No, we're not just specifically Just and Care talking about mental health disorders and particulate. We're just kind of going through the generalization of the terms that people often throw around when we're on live panels, or people are on live panels and they're using them so blanketly, and how that's not really appropriate, and it just kind of makes you sound stupid. So if you're up on a panel and you're going to call something a mental disorder, a mental illness, or a physical disorder, physical illness, physical condition, disease, syndrome, whatever, have some knowledge about it, right? Just don't come out espousing words just because you heard somebody else say them. Like, quit being a sheep and do some research yourself. You just make yourself sound stupid.
What doesn't exist anymore? I'm so confused.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I was wondering the same exact thing. Like, huh?
Narcissism is thrown around a lot.
Yeah,
yes.
that one is.
Yeah, and typically in good faith.
I think that's
like,
going to
I'll give it that one.
I think that's going to be one of our topics, so that we talk about too, and it might be also one that I talk about too in my personal podcast. I'm not sure. There's a lot of different.
Sure. What label? You need to be more specific. The heist priest.
Angry?
Yeah, I don't know what label we're talking about. We're not really
Just
talking
say it
about
with your
labels.
whole chest. Just say it with your whole chest so we can get this out of the way because we're in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah. Thank you, Bray.
What was I gonna say?
Thanks, guys.
Shoot. I don't remember now.
Oh no, we got interrupted by.
No, that's fine. I mean, we're at the very tail at the end of it anyway, so this is usually where we're encountering conversations and talking one amongst everyone. The low functioning was an old term. Whoa, man. Holy, fast moving fucking comments. Slow down.
Wait, to basically say that how low their function is.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's right. Like autism as a label gets thrown around.
Yeah.
I see what they're saying. Yeah, and then on top of that, the inappropriate categorization of high functioning versus low functioning and how we don't use that anymore. That's really, really important. And maybe on another day when we go into actual mental health as like a category or an episode series or something of that nature, we can deep dive into stuff like that. I mean, that's like.
I mean, that's like me when people throw out the hermaphrodite term, and it's like, no, true gonochromatic intersex.
You mean gonochoric?
Yeah, gonochoric.
Yeah.
Intersex. Like, it's not called the H word anymore.
Right.
Like we've grown out of the 80s, right?
Well, yeah, and I mean, that goes back to other terms. Like when we haven't even talked about that one within the perspective of intersex conditions, right? And intersex conditionality, right? And then they want to say, that it's always been hermaphrodite or hermaphroditism, and they don't understand. Yeah, you can laugh all you like. I stumble too, even as being articulate as I am. But the frustration that I have in that is because like they don't understand basic zoology and principles of biology, so they just think that it applies to all of us in the human species. But we know that there's actually differentiation within the biological perspective of human species, that they could exist gonochorically, but also have different examples of ageism within the human species. As limited as it may be, there might have only been 5 in the last 25 or 30 years, but that still means that it exists. And because it exists, that no longer becomes a distinguisher, a label of being ageism towards individuals of that nature, and then being able to say, oh, it's clearly this or it's clearly not that. And that's where I get frustrated, right? Like, I got into an argument in a debate the other day, and I said, you know what's wild is when you guys use definitions as your basis for your argument in debates, but the definition has been this way because that's what it was in prior books or prior dictionaries or something of that nature. You're literally creating an etymological fallacy by using definitions as your substantiation or causation for an argument. Because in an etymological fallacy, what you've done is you said, just because the definition was this in 1971, that's the way that it immutably stays unequivocally, without change and without evolution throughout time. So anybody could say like, the dictionary said in 1982 that wasn't called a chair, that was called a pushka. Right? And I could just make up some damn word, right? Like I could be like, that wasn't a chair in 1982, it was called a pushka. And now, because it's 2025, I don't give a flying rat's ass that you guys now call it a rolling chair, but I'm going to still call it a pushka for the rest of time. Like, that's an etymological fallacy. And people who live in definition worlds and saying that, oh, because the definition is this and it was this in 1981 or 1977 when John Money did this, or when, Gregor Mendel talked about the biological characteristics and phenotypical representation between P1 and G1 progeny within chromosomes, that because it was this way in 1792, here we are in 2025, and we know that there's differentiation in chromosomal variation, and understanding how like the first 44 pair affect different things like Alzheimer's, cancer, Crohn's, celiac, and then 45 and 46 are responsible for autosomal perspectives, which could include, but not limited to, things of intersex conditionality and variations of that nature, right? Like, science evolves, but if you want to say that you're stuck on something from that far back, you're literally creating a fallacy of etymological faction. You're not allowing that the fact that definitions and words evolve, meanings evolve. The things that don't are substantiated in objective fact. And here's another one. Illnesses, disorder, condition, disease. These are objective fact, proven through science, proven through medicine, and they never understand that certain words have objective fact based on them, but a majority of them don't. Right. Veteran. You're way too damn smart for 95% of the people. I know, I get that a lot.
Or the fact that they'll look at a definition and they'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then they think the one that's number 1 has more meaning than the rest of the other definitions. No, they're all the same weight.
Right. Or the number of times Phoebe has been classified as trans.
Right.
Yep.
It's like,
what? And it's like when you
5 days in a row and then 3 days not? Like,
or that I don't exist and I'm full of bull. And this is where I laugh when people are like, what's a woman? And I'm like, you tell me, what's the definition of a woman? And they're like, what do they always say? An adult human female.
Adult human female.
Yeah, and I'm like, and what's definition number 2? Well, that one doesn't matter. Sure it does.
Yes, it does.
They all matter.
Right.
I'm like, you can't just start with the first one.
Yeah, all definitions matter. And then on top of that, they all provide, as I've always used in those arguments, definitions in a dictionary provide you historical context of how we've used the word in nuanced conversations, both contextually and conversationally. That's the only reason why definitions are there, is to provide you historical context and understanding how they've been used through time, to give you an understanding that language evolves. We are not confined and confounded based on a perspective of this definition is here and it stays that way innately throughout time, right? Like it's mind numbing at time. Descriptive versus prescriptive. You've heard me use that all the time, right? The books and words in dictionaries are descriptive and subjective, not prescriptive and objective. And people just don't get it. And, shoot, that was actually one of my other points that I was going to talk about too. I just lost it. We were in the middle of it. Don't you end. Don't you end. Don't you dare.
You better move that puzzle piece.
You do a puzzle piece. You behave. You behave. Speaking
of the 18-year-old that needs a sign, here's your sign.
Oh, here's your sign. Oh my goodness. No, but we were talking about definitions and conditionality, etymological fallacy, etc. And then I just thought about it not too long ago, and I had a
Go back to work, Peanut. We don't care.
I can't remember. Shoot.
Get back to work.
What did we say? What were we talking about the other day?
Ship jumper.
Oh, Lord.
I can't remember.
We talk about so much. That's the hard part.
No, we were having a really good discussion about this, and I wrote the notes down, but I can't find my notebook because I wanted to talk about it in today's episode. I was like, oh, this is going to be good for this because we're going through these things, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to say. Like, damn it. I lost it.
Allie, you know that your computer has a notepad, right?
Shut up.
You also know that you can say, "Hey Siri, make notes for me," and just start talking, right?
I want her to hear me.
Yeah, she's listening.
Hey Siri, help Allie out, reminding her to how to make notes with you.
Yeah.
Mine's British.
It's British.
Yeah. She says, "Hello, Chris."
Peanut, if you're still in, and I just watched your text message, yes, to answer that question, if you're still down in our TikTok chat down there, is this still working? Yes.
Bring me
yes.
cheddar, yes. I'll take a beef and cheddar, please, with some potato cakes.
I don't, man, goodness gracious. I've skipped around so much, I lost my train of thought on every aspect of what I was trying to talk about.
You'll remember it later during COD, and you'll be like, "Son of a bitch! I figured it out."
100%.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that will exactly happen. Okay, well, we are on an hour and 2, hour and 6 in the recording, so this is working out really well. I'm watching everything so far, and it looks pretty clean and clear. But as you all know that are on TikTok as well as here on Twitch, we run these episodes for 1 hour to just about a little over an hour based on questions and answers. If you are tuning in late and you want to go ahead and watch the recap of our episode tonight, episode 6, illness, disorder, condition, disease, some of the clarifications on when is appropriate to use them, what do they mean, and how not to put them all together as one giant label. Make sure that you listen on Twitch and watch the VOD. If not, tune in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, where you can watch the replay of the video as well as listen to the audio. We push those up every 24 to 48 hours after our live stream here on Twitch. You can find everything about this and our group and our community, the Hot Take News podcast show, in every one of our link trees that's on our bios here on TikTok. Feel free to click inside there, subscribe, like, follow if you like the content. Stay tuned if you like to hear more And if you're inside our Discord, join our Discord if you're not a member of it. But if you want to know more things about what we talk about, or you want to see links of where this comes and goes live, or suggestions for topics, or you have a question for Phoebe, because maybe Phoebe has some particular aspect of sports medicine and sports integration and being competitive in that perspective of a topic we've talked about, talk to Phoebe. Message Phoebe. Phoebe will gladly answer questions. Same thing with Stacy. If you have some kind of perspective or question about Stacy that she would be most fundamentally appropriate to ask questions, feel free to reach out to Stacy in the Discord. Same thing with Jedi. You know, we're all here. We all love trying to communicate with you guys and interact with you. And that's the whole point of us doing this podcast, just creating. I'm not sure if this is still on. It doesn't seem like it. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
We can still hear you. We're good.
Like I noticed I come up. Well, I come up blue on my screen when I actually talk, and before it was just like then, and it was, and then it wasn't. Anywho, I am rambling. We want to say thank you to all of the people out there that came in, up to like 20 people that were inside at one point there. I don't know what their current count was over on Twitch, but for the roughly 30, 40 people that come in and listen and watch us do this, we thank you for all your support, the gifts, the shares, the likes, all of that stuff. We very much appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Saturday night. Happy post-Halloween to all of you out there. Tune in next week for the next episode, and we hope to see you around. I'm Allison. Hey, you three, if you guys can't play nice, you're not going to be allowed to sit on a chair. That's just how it goes.
Come down, hey.
And so yeah, I'm Allison, one of the other hosts. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the sign-offs over to the rest of the group, and I am going to put my microphone down. I love you all. It was good seeing you in here tonight. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. This is Jedi signing off. Remember to be kind to yourself. Say something nice to yourself. Remember to drink some water. Nobody wants to turn into a shriveled up orange prune. Make sure to drink some water.
Go ahead, Phoebe.
A great night, everybody.
This is Phoebe. This is your reminder. Everyone needs a hug. Hug one of your friends, because you don't know when the last time someone hugged them was. And they might appreciate the touch. Have a good night and a good weekend.
Hi, y'all. Stacy signing out for the final time. Allie, Jedi, Phoebe, I'm going to hijack it for 2 seconds here. Next Friday, you will not see me. I will have a background up in honor of something that is near and dear to my heart. Operation Hump. And if you know what that is, congratulations. One of the worst operations our military's ever done. But with that being said, I do honor the people that have fallen in that. Sorry, try not to tear up right this second. Holy shit, was not expecting that. But yes, if you're over on the Twitch land, you will not see that. I'm sorry, I don't know how to get it right where you guys can see it. However, over here on TikTok, you will see that pretty much the entire time I am live. Yeah, I can send it to you, Allie. Yeah, I've got it saved on my phone. I can get it over there to you. But yes, my grandfather was one of the pilots in that operation. Yeah. So yeah, that was something that has always been right there, a dagger in the heart every time this time of year.
Well, all right. So everybody, we are signing off for the night. This is Allison, Jedi, Phoebe, Stacy. We are Hot Takes News. Let me say that again. Hot Take News podcast show. We are live and direct to you from Twitch and TikTok at the same time. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I'm sure Twitch over there is already ended.